What's up, guys? Your Sniper King Weatherman is back with another banger list because your boy don't miss. And today we've got Blackluster Soldier, otherwise known as BLS or Big L's, because that's all we're handing out with this deck. Before I get started, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to join the Team 6K Army. And now that that's all out of the way, first off, we should talk about the skill because we don't just like the skill. The skill says at the beginning of the duel, add the Solar Light and Darkness and one Super Soldier Ritual to your graveyard. During this duel, you can only special summon Gaia the Fierce Knight monsters, Blackluster Soldier monsters, and monsters without rank or level, so we at least get to play any Link monster that's relevant. Once per turn, you can activate the following effects when you special summon a Blackluster Soldier monster. Add one Blackluster Soldier Ritual monster from your deck to your hand when there are no cards with the same name in your graveyard and field. Then select up to 3 banished cards of yours and return them to the graveyard. After this, once per duel, only if there is a Blackluster Soldier on your field, which is the non-effect ritual monster, you can set one ritual spell from your deck to your field, and this will be Chaos form. Now the skill says we can only set a ritual spell from our deck once per duel, but us being able to return 3 cards from our banish pile is once per turn, so we can infinitely do that part of the skill, which is really nice. The cards that are put in the grave at the beginning of the duel are Dark Magician, Charging Gaia of the Fierce Knight, Arisen Gaia of the Fierce Knight, Mystical Elf Karibo, Sphere Karibo, Super Soldier Ritual, and Gaia of the Fierce Knight. The card we want to pay attention to is the Super Soldier Ritual because the first half of the card is irrelevant, but its grave effect says during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card, one light monster and one dark monster from your graveyard, and then special summon a Blackluster Soldier Ritual monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only use this effect as Super Soldier Ritual once per turn, so it is a hard once per turn. We do play a total of 5 ritual monsters, but we play 3 different names. Since every monster in the deck is named Blackluster Soldier, I am just going to be referring to the original as BLS, but every other one by their actual name. The rituals we play here are BLS, Legendary Swordsman, and Super Soldier. Super Soldier has an alright-ish battle effect, which lets you burn your opponent when you destroy their monster by battle and it's sent to the grave. You'll inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack in the graveyard, but it's still better for going first because it floats. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect and goes to the graveyard, you can summon a Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from your hand or deck, and the skill places 2 in our grave, being Charging Gaia the Fierce Knight and Arisen Gaia the Fierce Knight, which is very convenient. Going second, we've got Legendary Swordsman, who's a better card because it says your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during your battle phase, and when this attacking card that was ritual summoned using a normal monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can shuffle all cards your opponent controls into the deck. This is actually incredibly easy to do since the skill puts Dark Magician and Sphere Karibo in the grave. You'll have a normal monster and a level 1 for your Chaos form to banish from grave to summon Legendary with this effect. Legendary also lets you add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand by revealing it to your opponent and giving up your draw for that turn. Envoy of the Beginning is the last BLS monster that we play, and he is quite simply removal or OTK power, as well as the fact that since he is a Blackluster Soldier monster, he can technically activate the skill to let us search for a BLS ritual monster, though doing so would mean that we activated the skill already and returned the banished card. So if we do so, that would mean that our ritual spell will not be in the graveyard the following turn to special summon a ritual monster from our hand. Envoy won't be special summoned via the spell though. He'll be special summoning himself from hand at the cost of banishing a light and dark monster from your graveyard. Once per turn, we can target one monster our opponent controls and banish that target, but we cannot attack with that copy of Envoy if we do so. Or we can activate his second effect, which lets us attack a second attack in a row if we destroy our opponent's monster by battle. Lastly, we've got Endymion of the Majestus and Mastery. This card has multiple uses in the deck that we take advantage of, and it only costs a normal summon that this deck doesn't even use. You can target one Majestus monster that we control and equip it with a Majestus monster from our extra deck. The second effect says we can target one face-up spell we control, destroy it, and if we do draw one card, then place one card from our hand to the bottom of the deck. Both of these effects are hard once per turn. Before you get ahead of ourselves, the cards we'll be equipping are cards such as Artemis, which from our extra deck, if we equip it, we'll be able to search another copy of Endymion. Equipping Relona will let us target a monster our opponent controls and negate it. Equipping Nanara will let us pop our equip and one spell trap our opponent controls. Equipping Varam will let us destroy our opponent's monster at the start of the damage step when we battle it. And equipping Iowas will boost our Majestus by 1,000 attack and defense. Going second with Majestus, you'll obviously equip what happens to be relevant in the moment, but going first, I typically equip Artemis so I can search another copy of Endymion, then pop the Artemis to draw a card. Now, the other cards we play in the extra deck are simply Nightmare Phoenix, a Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix is a link 2 that allows us to get rid of a back row, and Nightmare Unicorn is a link 3 that allows us to target a monster and shuffle it into the deck. These are pretty much the last 2 cards in the extra. For the rest of the cards in the main deck, we basically just play a couple Lancia, we play 3 Warning Point, 3 Book of Moon, and of course the 1 Chaos Form. That's pretty much the main deck. Just show this right here. Bam. Now you can see what the deck list looks like. Now we can just kind of get into some gameplay. It's not really worth talking about the turn 1, turn 2. I'll kind of just more go over it while we're just doing the replays. I had a lot of mirror matches yesterday. Looks like he was on a 5-game win streak, and I'm pretty sure this is the mirror match if I'm not mistaken. Looks like it is. So let's see. He's playing the Yugi that doesn't have a cutscene, so I do feel like he's got to lose. This is probably exactly why he lost. Because why isn't he playing the one with the cutscene? So we've got a very turn 1 heavy hand, but I mean, we're going second, and obviously I'm showing you guys the replay, man. So we won this. So let's see what he's got. If we had a Lancia, this is before we swapped the floodgates for Lancia. If we would have been playing the Lancia, he wouldn't have even had a turn right now. It would have been over. And it's over regardless. He's got the Super Soldier Synthesis, so he's going to get the extra effect, being able to banish a monster or a card, from my hand, as well as a card from the field. I believe it's a monster from the field. I'm not even about to read it. I don't play the Super Soldier Synthesis. Well, I guess this is technically a version, so I will actually kind of go over it. I'm not going to lie. This is another variant you could play. So by using the Super Soldier Synthesis, he's going to be able to send a light and dark monster, 1 from hand and 1 from deck, that equals 4. So just by having 1, he'll be able to get these 2 effects, because they also gain the effect of the ritual material that's sent. So if he sends Evening Twilight, right, he's going to get the effect to target a monster we control and banish it. Also banish a random card from our opponent's hand face down to the end of the next phase. Then also, this one does the same thing, target a monster, banish it, and then when this card destroys an opponent's monster sent to the graveyard, you can make a 2nd attack in a row. So this is something that you could play. This is another variant of BLS if you wanted to do that, but I don't choose to play that. Maybe I will do a different video playing that version of the deck. So now we're going to summon our Magistus, and since we don't really need much, we're just going to get ourselves an Artemis, search for another Endymion, and then we're just going to pop it so that we can draw a card. Try to get us a BLS, and we do. We actually get us the BLS, the exact card that we want. So we're going to summon out our BLS right now, get that cutscene popping off, because our boy is looking mad clean. This is looking like 2 blue Vortex Boruto right here. Our boy is coming in nice, coming in with the drip. My boy clean as hell. Now that we on the field, let's go. Let's see. We're going to activate the skill, and we're going to search for Legendary, because Legendary is great for going second. We're going to set the Chaos Form, and we returned our cards, except for the card that he banished. So we're going to summon the Envoy. We're not even going to go into our thing just yet. So I want you to think, what am I going to do right here? What do you think I'm going to do? So my options were with this field, I could have crashed. You know, I could have maybe crashed into him, crashed again, and then attacked for 13 and set my Warning Point in my floodgate. But would that have been great? I could have just set my Warning Point floodgate, you know, like what would you have done? Well, we've got the Phoenix and the Unicorn. So we're going to banish 1 with Envoy, then we're going to go into Nightmare Unicorn, and we're going to shuffle him back into the deck, discard our Warning Point, put him back in the deck, and now we're going to activate our Chaos Form, banishing our Dark Magician. Not that it matters, but we would, technically speaking, have the effect to shuffle all cards our opponent controls back into the deck after we destroy the monster, but it doesn't even matter because we're going to do it this way. So we're going to set our floodgate, and we're attacking for game now. He's pretty much beat. And this is a clean mirror match. That's how we got the dub on them. On to the next. So I wasn't going to show this game, but I mean, look at them. They've got a 12-game win streak. So I mean, it's just because it wasn't a tiered deck is really the only reason I wasn't going to show it. But I mean, 12-game win streak in Legend, I mean, you've got to be doing something solid. So I'm pretty sure this was against Dinomist, actually. Which is what I assumed based on what they were playing. So we don't have a very great hand. We're just going to summon the 1 BLS that we have, banishing a light and dark. I just want to say I didn't really speak on it earlier about what cards to banish. To be real with you, I don't know if it matters that deeply, because you're really going to be returning it back to the grave with the skill anyway, like what you banished. So it really doesn't matter that much. I just don't usually banish Dark Magician and Sphere Karibo just because I want to use it with Chaos Form when I summon out Legendary. But other than that, I don't really think it matters that much, you know, to be honest. Just make sure you keep lights and darks in your graveyard. When you activate the skill to put them back, just make sure you're putting back lights and darks so you can do your stuff again. So we're going to search for the original, just so that when we activate and we have our next turn, we can special summon this. And then because it's the regular BLS, we'll be able to search for another one. But actually, it really doesn't matter because we have the Chaos Form in our hand. So Really, we could have just searched for the legendary right now, to be real. It really didn't matter. And I could have summoned it, but I felt like this was Dinomist. I didn't think it was going to matter. I had double book, which I knew was enough. You just have to know when to hit Dinomist. And if you remember from our video, because we literally made this exact build, I did the exact video on it, the United Pendulum Dinomist. He's going to be tributed now. We're not going to do anything. We wait till he goes into battle phase because he's got the charge right here, which is just going to add whatever he uses back to his hand. So if we activate to to book him, he's just going to negate it and then add it back to his hand. So we're going to book him now. Right? Bam. It's going to negate. If we would have did that during the main phase, this would have activated. He would have added it back to his hand and then placed it right back and been able to negate another targeting effect. But since we're doing it in the battle phase, he can't. Now we're going to book him. No more attacking directly. His other guy isn't bigger than us. So now we've got the follow-up. We drew into Magistus, which we're not even going to need. We're going to special summon out our Blackluster Soldier. Pull him out. Let that animation play again just because it's my boy Yugi. I gotta let my boy Undead's character get his animations off. I ain't even gonna hold you. Plus, it's hard. I can't even lie to you. It's a hard animation. It's a hard animation. I can't even hold you. So we've got him on the field now, and we're going to be searching for our legendary swordsman, and then we're going to be using Chaos Form to banish Fear Karibo and Dark Magician from our graveyard so that we can get ourselves that nice juicy effect of being able to shuffle all cards our opponent controls back into the deck after attacking. So I do want to think actually just to see if I did make the right decision here. I attacked with BLS first, and then because I wanted to activate this right here says if your Dinomist card would be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, destroy this instead. So I can't swing with him first because I know my first attack is actually not going to destroy anything. And the same thing with him. If you wanted to get your double attack off, well, it has to destroy a monster, so it also has to be the second card to attack. But I had actually wanted to show you guys the shuffling effect, so I'm gonna boom, bam, he activates this scale, beat over his guy. Now we can shuffle all the cards back into the deck and then attack with BLS. I knew the game was over from here. I just knew this was going to be a clip. I'm gonna be real with you. So I wanted to show you guys the shuffle effect, but it does actually come up. I just wanted to make sure I had a clip where I used it. So he's got his stuff back. He's going to United Pendulum, which means he is going to be able to summon from his extra deck, but he's only going to be able to summon one card. He's only going to be able to protect himself from destruction one time, and he's only going to be able to protect himself from targeting one time. So it really doesn't matter here. We're just going to set our warning point that we top decked into. Bam. Now we're going to attack, shuffle the remaining cards back into the deck, and then attack with BLS for game. And now we win. GG's. On to the next game. Alrighty. Is it the mirror match? I actually don't think this was the mirror match. I think this was Yugi, but it wasn't the mirror match. That's funny. I just noticed I've got the Dark Magician mat and he's got the Dark Magician girl mat, but it makes sense because I'm pretty sure he's playing Magician's Magic. Yeah. So we're going first. And I mean, this hand is actually pretty solid. So we have one back row in our hand. So by the rules that I said earlier, if I had less than one back row, I would summon to BLS. But I don't do it in this turn, and the main reason is just because I have Endymion. Simply because I have Endymion, I just really didn't feel the need. The only reason I summoned the other monster is really just for a little bit of protection. If I can keep the BLS in my hand, then I'll keep the BLS in my hand, to be honest with you. But it's not that deep. I really just want to protect my life points. That's really the main thing. So we're going to be equipping ourselves with our Dinomist so that we can thin out the deck a little bit by searching for another copy of Endymion before we pop it to draw a card. We drew into another BLS, unfortunately, so we're just going to summon out our Envoy and then activate our skill to put the cards we banished back into the graveyard and search for a legendary for our following turn. So we just got a 3k beater, then a 1300 monster with a warning point set. Not the most amazing board, but we're going to be doing our thing. And pay attention to what I do here. So he searches for the stuff, right? Right, so he's got the Dimension Conjure in your hand. You might be asking yourself, why didn't you warning point him? I looked at the delay, and I read the card, the dual log. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word. All it said was Dimension Conjurer was normal summon. It did not say to me that his effect was activated. So that told me that he already had the quick play in his hand. He couldn't even search for it. It was already in his hand. So I didn't even activate the warning point. Why waste it? And then look at him, without searching, activates the magical dimension as I thought he just had it in his hand. So he's going to special summon the Dark Magician. He's going to pop my Envoy, and then he's going to activate to draw a card, return a card, set in 2 cards, and then beat over my Endymion, which is perfectly fine. Now that it's our turn, we're looking good. We've got another Endymion in our hand that we just searched for, so we're going to start off by normal summoning him, and then we're going to equip ourselves with who? With our bad girl Nanaru, because we're going to be able to pop a back row. Then we're going to hit that Eternal Soul, activating our spell in the graveyard so that we can special summon out our BLS. So we just activated the ritual spell that was engraved, the Super Soldier Ritual, banishing it, a light monster, and a dark monster so that we could special summon a Blackluster Soldier Ritual monster from our hand, and we chose our boy BLS. He warning points us, which is perfectly fine. I could have technically booked myself too if I wanted to save myself, but who cares? I'll be free next turn, so it's not like he would have attacked regardless. I searched for the Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier, but I'm going to be special summoning Legendary. Not like it matters, because he's scooped. I would have been setting the book, and we would have been going in for game. I appreciate you guys for checking us out, but you know, your boys got to go get the forecast somewhere else. And actually, I do think that there's some machines in your near future. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the future.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low-key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean, so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream, so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For real.